Statechart elements. The statechart have many elements. Here is the main elements that should be included in the statecharts. So the first is the state. So the state is the main elements of the statechart, and then the events or the transition that will happen to transfer from one state to another state, and the third one is the action that will happen or once the system is reached to the state. So let's see these elements one by one. So the first one is the state. As I mentioned, the state is the main or the central elements of the state chart, and the state describe the situation or the status of the system in certain times. So as we show, as the figure show here, this system is this figure is for ATM machine. So once before the system insert his card, the system will be idle, and then once the user insert the card, the system will change its status from idle to waiting the bin. After receive the bin, the system change its status to validate the bin. So each of these is a state, and each of these describe and each of these state describe the system in a period of times. So the first elements is the state, which is the main elements of the state charts. The elements is the state is the central elements of the states, and the state describe the situation of the system in specific times. The third element is the events. The events or the transitions. So the events, it's something, it's happened. Something is happening at a point in the time. Something is happening at a point of time to happen. So here in this example, in this figure, the action or the events is card inserted, bin entered. So these actions or these events cause the transition from one state to another state. So here we say the events or the transition is transfer one state to another state, and the state and this transition is grammed as arrow. So once the transition is taken, the source of the states is moved from one state to another state. So the events and the condition, or the transition and the condition. Sometimes there is a condition, it should be satisfied before to move to another state. For example, here in this case, the action or the condition should be between two brackets with the transition or with the events. For example, in case the user insert the card should be new. So here is, if this condition is true, the state will change to the new state. Otherwise, the state will the system will stay in the same state. So sometimes there is the events, it's come with actions. So in order to move from one state to another state, this action should be true. For example, here in this example, when the user insert the card, the system check either this card is new or old. If new, the system will move to another state. Otherwise, can the system will stay in the same state. The third is the action. So what's the action? The action is the computations that execute as a result of state transition. For example, in this system here or in this example, after the card is inserted, what should happen as action from the system? Should get the bin, should ask the user to get the bin. So once the user insert the bin, we think so and then the system will move to another state. And the same here, after the bin is entered, the system should validate this bin. So this is the action that's happened as a result of the events. So the action here, actually we have different type of action. The first is entry action and exit action. The entry action are triggered when the state is entered, while the exit action is triggered when leaving the state. Example of this, okay, when the user enter the bin and then as entry action, the system, for example, validate the bin. So as entry action, the system validate the bin, and as exit action, the user can see the result of validation. For example, the system or the bin is validate successfully. For example, it can be is a message. So the entry validate the bin, while the exit is the result of validations of bin validations, either successful or fail. Okay, as we mentioned, we have now three components of the state charts. The first is the state, transition or events, and the actions. And events, it's come with sometimes it's come with conditions. So both conditions and actions are optional, while the status or the state and the transition, the events, only this is necessary, while the action and condition are optional.